Ellijay, Georgia, known for its small town feels, while also having some of the best wineries and vineyards in the South. The locals here are known for hosting an array of parades, the nation's largest apple festival, and KKK rallies. Let's talk about it.
The Klan operate in total secrecy. The Klan's sinister power grew as new recruits joined, some through coercion.
What's up, guys? As you may know, last year, Lexi and I moved to the small town of Ellijay, Georgia.
Ellijay, Georgia.
And before we moved here, we got warnings from family members, friends, and even some kind of like, I wouldn't say locals, but people who have moved here and are like, spend half the time, half a year around, whatever you call it.
Like
Snowbirds.
50-50?
Yeah, snowbirds or something like that. They've all warned us about like racism in the small town. And they always ask about our experience with it. Because when you drive around, you do see Confederate flags on some of these old buildings. Some people have it on,
Their car, their house.
Our mail person.
Our mail lady.
Our mail lady has it on her car. But from our experience, I guess I don't know. Our experience is a little weird.
Okay, so first of all, I don't know. We come to this town of Ellijay, Georgia, and we also obviously stick out like sore thumbs when we go out. So I feel like we live in a community where we're kind of secluded, so we're not really like living out in the open, if that makes sense. So I guess it's easier for people not to find us. That's what I'm leaning towards. But like we go out a bunch, but when we go out, we go downtown to established restaurants and places, and people come up to us normally, and it's a normal thing to ask why we're here. What are we doing here? What made us move here?
But like,
how are we liking it?
The why we're here, it's never like a mean why. It's more like, because it's such a small town, everyone knows each other, that they're always asking, once they start realizing, oh, you are coming back to this place frequently, they come up to you and ask, oh,
kind of just look at you from afar and build the confidence.
Like today at the grocery store, the guy who was making our subs were like, you come in here a lot. And I think it started clicking to him that we actually live here. But so we kind of want to go through our experiences and like just kind of like past things that we found online as well, of like why LJ gets that stigma of being kind of like a racist town, and how that's changed over the last 5 to 10 years. Because if you know anything about, Blue Ridge and the LJ area, lots of people are moving here. Lots of things are changing. And so I guess we could start off with a little story of the first day, the first night we went out.
Okay.
This was kind of weird because it wasn't karaoke, but it was open mic.
Open mic. We were at this place downtown. It's a nicer restaurant bar. And, we're few drinks in, we're sitting by the bar, listening to live music, having a great time. One of the first times we were out, we went to this place multiple times when we first moved here. So we started seeing locals and, would say hi or just kind of stare and be like, oh, I saw you last week. But this lady that I've seen but never talked to, I was wearing shorts, it was the summer, and she approaches me.
Well, she was eyeing her for a while.
She was eyeing me for a while across the room. And when people look at you and you're like, you're not going to give like an ugly look because they're like curious or like kind of want to talk to you, but they're kind of iffy, don't know what to do. She was doing that, and she's an old, elder white woman, so I'm like, not going to be like, what you looking at? So she finally made her way over to me, and she approaches me and says, look at those beautiful chocolate legs.
Because Lexi does have big, beautiful legs.
My quads were popping, obviously. But I was like, in the moment, I'm silly. I'm like, I just laugh it off. I say thank you. And then she gets even closer and she's like, I didn't mean to sound offensive. You just have beautiful chocolate legs, and oh, is that your boyfriend? Y'all will make beautiful babies and all this good stuff. And then she goes in to asking us if we moved there or if we lived there, how long we're visiting. I think she led the question, which most people, that's how you lead the question here. How long are you visiting?
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people live here. So after that, we told her we moved here, and she literally thanked me for contributing to the population. So you're welcome. But, she literally thanked me for, so she was grateful that we were here. She was very open.
Making it more diverse because...
More diverse, I mean...
This would be the first out of many exchanges we've had with locals telling us how happy they are about it becoming more diverse, because this is a small town where they live off of, the businesses thrive off of tourism.
Yeah, this is a tourist town.
Right now is a slow season, and so businesses are hurting in this area. And so in the past, like I said, in the past 5 to 10 years, Blue Ridge and Ellijay have been blowing up to being a good touristing spot. People come here, want to experience a small town, and then plus people are moving here out of Atlanta because Atlanta is becoming more, and it's becoming more diverse. And what we've noticed is most of the locals actually want the diversity.
The people that go out want and appreciate it.
Yeah, the people that we actually
meet. Don't, they're like very against it and very scared that, life goes on, the future's coming and people are moving to small towns. But people that go out are very appreciative because we are in a tourist town. So we have a busy season, and, our small town restaurants thrive during that busy season. We need, individuals that are every diversity to come in and to support the locals so all the businesses can stay afloat. So I feel like people that go out and actually understand that we just, we're not flooding the town. We're coming to...
Flooding the town.
support, basically. Most of us.
And so kind of to bridge off that a little bit. So the reason why, I guess, Ellijay has gotten the bad breath of being this racist town. It's because it's in North Georgia. And if you look, just paint a broad brush over all of North Georgia, all of South Georgia, everything outside of Atlanta particularly, that's very Southern and like old-fashioned Southern, kind of what you'd stereotypical,
hillbilly,
like Confederate flag town areas. And Ellijay used to actually have a KKK chapter here, but when we tried doing our research, is it still active? The latest that we could find a website that talked about it was 2014. So that's over a decade ago. That is the latest of the active chapter. Now, another story that popped up was 5 years ago, and it was of a cop who got fired for liking.
He didn't get fired. He got on. Did he get fired, or did they tell him leave? He was on leave.
Paid leave, yeah.
He was on leave.
For liking, KKK members'
Facebooks, Instagrams, like stories, whatever.
But that, like I said, was in 2018. And then there was, I think you mentioned a Black Lives Matter. Yeah,
that was around the first rally, I think, when the cop did all that stuff. And then there was another rally that was like a Black Lives Matter downtown. And then another group shows up. They were protesting for Black Lives Matter. And then another group shows up and protests against Black Lives Matter. So that's, I don't know how that works. That's just kind of shows you what we were saying, going back and forth. Half people in this town are with it and half aren't. But the half aren't don't come out that often.
I don't think it. I think it's not even half.
Probably not half.
No, it's way less. Because if it was half, the amount of we go out.
Oh, it's less now. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would say it's not even. I would say it's the same problem that we have with the bigger arching problem. It's the same arching problem that the rest of the country has. A small minority now can have a large voice and bring down a larger majority because of social media, Facebook groups, Facebook posts. Because literally, we have not experienced anything that bad besides one incident, which is not even bad. But I guess I'll talk about. We were at a friend's house, and he was had acquaintance house, and he was having not even a bonfire. We just went there to hang out for a second because it was like the first week we were here, and then this lady came over, and he warned us before she came over. He's like, this lady and her boyfriend do a lot of drugs. She's coming here because at the time he was married or something like that, and she was picking something up for his ex-girlfriend or something like that to bring about because they were like separating or something like that. And she sat with us for a little bit, and she was like, "Oh, how long have you guys been here for?" And we're like, "Oh, not too long." And also she's probably high on some type of drug right now. she's like, she's giving that like pilly, like dozy type of vibe. And she just said, "Watch out where you go. They won't like that around here."
Especially to me.
Yeah. Because she asked us if we were together, and I said yes. And she's like, "Just watch out. They won't like that around here." And then that's literally the only time.
And then she just also went on to say bad things about people in this town.
Yeah.
And like, and I feel like I've never been the person to listen to somebody else tell me how I should think about some other person, or I don't listen to people when I have to judge someone else. But for someone like that, I'm like, I'm not really gonna believe you, because I haven't, at that time, nothing bad has happened to me thus far, and everyone's been really nice to me thus far. Even though things do happen to me, but they've happened always. I mean, I grew up in a white community. When I grew up in high school, there was way more black people in diverse community when I was in high school. But now, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I forget that I'm like one of the only black people that work downtown in this town. Like I'm, so it's not easy to miss me. But that also leads people into, I'll serve some customers, or I'll meet some people downtown, and they're like, why do you live here? Or like, give me the 411. And black people always approach me if I'm on the street downtown, and just get the gist. How long have you lived here? Do you really live here? Why do you live here? But I think it's all just curious questions. Like, it's not ever they're shaming me. It's just curious questions because time is changing.
Yeah, and then exactly, just go off what you just said. Time is changing. Like, we need to realize that the 50s and 60s weren't 100 years ago. They were, 80, 70 years ago, 60 years ago. My math is probably wrong there. But that means the people who lived through that are on their way out of life in general. So, I said live through that on the bad part. Like, the racist, those type of people. And as these areas, if you look up Chattanooga, Blue Ridge, Ellijay, people are moving out of the city and coming to these areas, and they're becoming more and more diverse for the better. Not only for the community, but better for the businesses that are here. And literally from our experience, it's been nothing but positive and accepting here. And that's why we wanted to make this video, because we get that question so much, not by locals about like, how's your experience, but like people who are visiting are always asking that. Specifically you. And then, like I said, we're only about an hour and a half from Atlanta. So what I've noticed, I came up growing up here as a kid. It was not that diverse as a kid 20 years ago, visiting here. But now they've built down the downtown, in Atlanta, which is probably the Black Hollywood of America. That culture is, I wouldn't say the culture as a whole, but people are looking for places to vacation that are cost effective. And driving to Ellijay, it's wine country. There's so many things to do here. When it comes, there's like probably how many wineries? Like 15 wineries.
Like 8 to 10.
8 to 10 wineries here. More and more people from all types of cultures are coming here. We have a big Hispanic population here. And so as time goes on, people are going to move out of the cities. Cities that are these small towns are going to become more and more diverse. And there is some bad history. But if you go into the Facebook groups, one of the people said that the last time they had a rally here was I think 5 to 8 years ago. I can't remember where it was. But they literally ran them out.
Yeah.
So like I said, we tried doing research, and if I find it, I'll do some research after this episode if I can find some hardcore and then plug it in right here. And if you don't see anything pop up, I didn't find anything. But that type of stuff is just becoming so toxic. Like, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you don't associate with that type of stuff. And
I will say, keep going.
And I feel like over time, that stuff's just going to be slowly phased out because there's so, like, interracial couples, whether it's black, white, Hispanic, white, like, or black, or Hispanic, like Asian, Hispanic, like, it's, as time goes on, it's just going to be more and more mixed. And it's just, racism, I'm not going to say is ever going to end, but it's just slowly going to phase out as, just naturally as cultures become more interracial as a whole, if that makes sense.
Yeah, does make sense.
I don't think racism will ever go away because everyone's going to find a way to hate each other, but it's just becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. And
yeah, that's true.
But
it's fun. It's fun living here. This town, moving to a small town in general, there's different things that we have to think about and go through, I think. Like, different than, per se, like, in this town, I was not scared, but I knew that it was a predominantly, like, white town before we moved here. So it was kind of like, hope you fit in. But as soon as I moved here, I mean, wouldn't say I'm well known, but, like, it was pretty easy to be like, oh, that's Weston and Lexi, when, like, random people we meet. And
we stuck out like a sore thumb because it's a small town, so they're used to seeing, like, people come and go.
Yeah.
But then once they start seeing someone, come back over, or come to the same places time and time again, then they start like, wait, are they live here?
But it will be interesting to see. Because we'll be here for a while. Yeah. So it will be interesting to see where this town goes because, like we said, there's so many people that are born and raised in Ellijay and they're in any other small town, I'm presuming. But, like, there's so many people that, like, have their own views about what should be going on, how we should be building. And some people that just want it to stay the same. And, I mean, living in a small town, we're an hour outside of Atlanta, but it's not like we have apartments here or get housing for kids or high schoolers or anything like that, or college kids. It's not like we don't have that. So it'll be interesting to see who buys up these properties and the diversity that comes in as all these communities are being built. See who starts living in these communities and starts going out and how things change around here. Because it's very interesting. We're in a time of change. Like, this whole town, I'm assuming small towns with everything going on, hopefully you can only go up from here, but it's very interesting to see how money talks.
Yeah, and kind of to show you how I think sometimes there's a stereotypical, I don't want to say his name, but we know this one guy. I'll bleep his name.
Oh.
He looks like the most stereotypical racist person that you ever see. Like 50, 60 years old, white, old guy, missing teeth, long gray hair, has like random, I don't even think he has tattoos, but he looks like the most stereotypical racist hillbilly.
Yeah.
And he's literally the nicest freaking
amazing
person.
Look, so it's funny that I think of that.
No, but to go off of that, I think like redneck hillbilly people and just like kind of like people who grew up in Atlanta, because I used to do music videos in kind of the ghettoest areas in Atlanta. There's a lot more in common between those cultures than you really think. People care about nice cars, trucks, and good barbecue and good food, and just kind of like a Southern family hospitality. And I think there's a lot of overlap that people don't really realize, whether mainstream media wants, to put like, the racist white Southern person against minorities, but there's a lot more common ground than you think.
When people write those articles and those things, like, I'm a person that am very intrigued by people. I'm very intrigued by people. If I meet you, if I'm in a crowd of people, I will intrigue and listen and find things about every single person in the room and just remember it. And, I like to engage with people, see how they work, see what type of personalities they have. Strong, nice, like genuine personalities. I like reading people. So like you meet some people here and as they approach, you're like, dang, I don't know how this person's gonna act towards me or how this interaction will go just because how far out they are, like, in this town where it's just land, you know? And most of the time, it's so funny and so warming and
like
and just
it's so funny
inviting.
because they're old and then they're so curious because
Oh, yeah.
so much is changing in this area, and they're happy about it. So they like these people are like 70, 80 years old and lived here their whole lives, and then they're seeing these changes for the first time. So they come up to us and start talking to us.
I'll
and
tell you what.
Ask us life questions, and then they're curious. And then all of a sudden, they give you your card, and then they invite you to that art festival. We got invited to art festivals. That one lady that talked about her chocolates then invited us to a 420 event downtown. And then when we randomly saw her out again, she's like, "Yeah, I didn't. No one was smoking or anything.
Y'all didn't show up."
Yeah, we didn't show up, and she was mad.
No, but there's I don't think I've left the house once without being talked to, honestly, if I'm being honest. But it's the amount of people that come up to me and are curious. Ooh, who's your boyfriend? Why'd you move here? Where are you living? Because they know the whole town. Mm-hmm. Right. So if I'm like, oh, this is where I live, they're like, oh, you over there?
Yeah, we live in Turnip Town.
But it's all, I mean, we've encountered so many great things living here. And I'm glad we're like some of the first people to start building. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think you said this, but they literally thanked us for diversifying their population.
Oh, yeah. And I have people that come up to me like, when I'm working and just will give me a hug. Like, I've been here 9 months and we're...
Yeah, and she does really good on tips.
But I am a people person. So, like, some people I will say, like, will react differently to the questions I've been asked because whatever personality you have, like, some people would or will react differently. But for me, I kind of just listen how people say things, and you can see in their hearts if they're very genuine or curious or if they're just being a dick. So yeah. I feel like there's certain questions that you get that kind of make you go sideways, but then it's kind of like, this person's 84 years old and they're probably just asking me because they're curious. But it's all fun and games, baby.
Yeah, and I feel owning my own business and like having to do sales and stuff like that for myself like has made me really good at reading people. And like when we get into these conversations with people, you can feel the authenticity of their questions of like they're actually curious because like I said, they're 70 years old, 60 years old, and then they are literally seeing these things and they love change because they want change. Like they're getting sick of the same things over and over again. And that's why it's like, as I said, I grew up here as a kid, and it was completely different 20 years ago than it is now. Maybe, is it because of the pandemic and people moving away from cities? I don't know, but if you look at what's being developed in Blue Ridge, which is 15, 20 minutes north of us, and what's being developed even in Ellijay, a lot more these areas that are labeled racist are going to become more and more diverse as time goes on because everyone's getting sick of, I feel like, big cities and the living costs and realizing, why am I paying $4 or $5 of gas, but when I drive outside the city, it's $2. So it's like people are starting to move away from the cities, especially with remote work.
Or
and that's
going just to get a freaking break, like going out, booking an Airbnb in the freaking woods just to get a break. Like, I get it. Mm-hmm. We decided to move here full time after being up here after a freaking week, so I get it. People are tired of the noise, and it'll be interesting to see how people start to navigate and realize that we're the closest mountains, I think. I think we are, Ellijay might be the closest mountains to Atlanta and, like, Florida and those neighboring states. I know, like, you can get North Carolina and stuff, but I think we're a little bit further.
I think so, and the big thing, like I said, is wine country. There's so many wineries, so many people are coming here for that. And then there's a bunch of there's apple festivals and things along that, like those lines. One thing I forgot to put in my notes though is one thing that we wanted to talk about as well is how our just our interracial couple as a whole, because we don't want to make this channel about us being an interracial couple, but there are things that people have asked us about along the way, and one thing was, how did our parents and families react to us dating? And I guess, do you want to answer yours first? Or
Yeah, my mom knew that my serious boyfriend was gonna be Caucasian. I don't know, that sounds weird, but like, I never labeled myself as having a type. And then I guess I did have a type. So like, when I told her, I still was a little iffy because I was like, meh. And it was also my very first serious boyfriend. So after I told her, after I showed her, she thought I was handsome, and that was it. There was no. I think my sister made fun of me more, if I'm not mistaken, just because she always thought I liked white guys, and I always said I didn't, and I always...
What?
I always said I didn't have a type, so yeah, it was a big joke in my family. I don't think anyone really cared. Yeah, it was more about how fast we moved, but yeah, I don't think anyone really cared in my family. Yeah. I know, you haven't been introduced to my entire family, like, on both sides, so if that ever happens, who knows, but...
I think it was
my family's blended, So.
Yeah, you said more people that just followed you on Instagram cared.
Oh, yeah. I mean, family, they didn't care. Acquaintances, let me not say friends, but acquaintances that I knew, and the first time I posted him, a white man, on my Instagram, holy crap. My DMs shot up. They were filled with, African-American men just being like, what the hell? But, I get both sides, but it happens.
Love sees no color, and love just is love.
Love sees no gender, no color.
Yeah, and so that's why you just gotta find someone that makes you happy, and it doesn't matter what they are. Just find someone that makes you happy. But
what about your family?
My sister freaked out because my sister.
is married to an African-American man.
Yeah, her husband's black. And, so she just freaked out because I didn't tell her. And when we were just in her house, she was at work, and so we were in her house just chilling.
It's kind of funny because I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah, well, we were just chilling in her kitchen, and she walked in, and she, looked. Like,
I literally remember
and then came back. And I guess she called AJ, she's black.
Yeah, and then, I remember I think we went to the mall or something with, your sister's kids, and we were sitting in the car, and she's like, I'm sitting in the front seat, Weston's all the way in the back of the Cadillac, and I'm sitting in the front, and she's like, yeah, I can't believe you're black, he never told me. I feel like he should have told me. He never dated anyone who was black, but it was just... That was really funny.
Yeah, I mean, I just
never
don't
brought
have,
home
I don't
a
have
black
a type.
woman. First one, man. First one's good.
Kind of.
What?
I'm joking.
What'd you say?
I said kind of. I mean, I'm not I feel like I have before. I don't know. Never mind. Next topic.
Yeah.
But going off of that, so my mom found out before. My mom's a private she's not a private investigator, but she acts like one. So she already found her Instagram and everything before I even introduced them. My sister is just more surprised because she thought maybe I would have said she was black. I really don't know. I think she was just because I think my sister had a picture of me as stereotypical white frat boy.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Normally that doesn't mean interracial couples when you're a white frat boy. And I got that stereotype a lot while doing music videos in Atlanta. People just always stereotype me as white frat boy, white cameraman. And I'm fine with that because I literally, when I lived in LA, I was the only white person out of 10 of my roommates or 8 of my roommates. So I'm kind of used to being that white boy. And so I just never really thought anything of it. And so I didn't think I had to bring it up. But then when, I guess, showcasing it to my sister for the first time, and even AJ was happy
I was so excited.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's funny.
But I guess maybe my family's unique. We're
I think
very
it's
open.
room for a whim. Yeah, both of our families are very open.
But I guess because I don't want to paint that like there's no racism in this country. There definitely is, but I feel like if we shine light on the things that aren't like, what's the opposite of racism? Like, what's the word for that? Like, why we need to shine light on the opposite of racism?
Union, peace.
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely dealt with it before, and it's very interesting.
Yeah.
If you've ever had something like, yes, I'm African American, but and racism is happening, and you can always see it on your phone screens or on the news. But when it actually happens to you, it kind of throws you off if you're not like on alert. Like, especially if it's like low key shade, where you can kind of walk up to someone and you get the vibes immediately, and you kind of just, create that space. Just kind of walk away, mind your own business. But I have been encountered multiple times. I got bullied one time in high school for growing up in a white community. I remember this like it was freaking yesterday. Growing up in a white community, had a lot of white friends, played on the basketball team, a lot of white people on my basketball team. Not a very diverse school. And I got bullied because not a lot of my friends were black or African American, and I did get bullied. So that was really interesting to see. But I mean, you do what you can, stay away from it. Don't dive into it. Know who you are as a person, I feel like. Because every single situation I kind of just turned my back to. Didn't really feed into it because, like, what is that going to gain? People have their opinions. People always will have their opinions. So, just...
Also, if more people do Ancestry.com, they'll probably start realizing, even if you don't think that stuff's 100% accurate, like, you'll start seeing, like, I already kind of knew that I had, like, Native American, well, not Native American, whatever native indigenous people from Mexico area. I have that in me. So if more people did that, they'll start realizing, like, oh, I have Native American in me. Oh, I have some type of Asian in me. We are all a cesspool of genetics that have come from Africa. Like, if you look at the evolution of humans, if you believe in evolution, which I do, we're all coming from the same place. And so, one thing that I did want to also say is when we were doing the research on hate groups that are in America, there's a website. It's a non-profit organization. Hold on, let me pull it up. I thought I had it in here. Okay, so the nonprofit is called SPL. I'm not sure what that stands for, but they have a hate map, and it goes over where all the hate groups headquarters are. And we do have a hate group here in Ellijay, Gwinnett County, and they are called Moms for Liberty. They're anti-government establishment group that has a huge following, and if you look at them, actually they don't have they have all types of diverse people on their board. They have white Karens, they have the latest links. They had Asian people, black people, Hispanics. They are literally just Moms for Liberty, and that's the only hate group that's on this map that's within our area.
That makes me also like. Just so you know, LJ is its own city.
Yeah.
Like the city, it has its own city hall. Mm-hmm. However you say that. So in Atlanta, you can stay open till 3 a.m., 2 a.m. It's like the city ordinance. Out here, it's like I think 8 or 9 p.m. or 10. I think is the latest, 10 or 11. And that will not change until they change it. So Moms for Liberty, maybe they're trying to.
I'm not sure
get jiggy with it at night, but we'll see.
But actually, that's probably this website. I'll put the link to it in the description. But it's this is what SPL stands for. I guess Southern something SPL document. I don't know. But they have all the hate groups that are active, and that's actually I should have probably put 2 and 2 together. That there's no active KKK or any hate group besides Moms for Liberty in this area. So besides that, I guess, what do we want to close people off with this episode with? Our closing method or message?
It's 2024. If you have nothing nice to say, don't freaking say it at all. Love yourself. Love your people. Love the blacks.
No, don't. Well, yeah, love. That was a very direct answer, but so I guess yes, I agree with that. But yeah, I don't know how else to go from there.
Love ya.